Welcome. Welcome to Tales of Jemmora, the Kraken's Wing. Part 3 of Episode 6. Last we left off, deals were made. Deals were rejected. A
No
trial
deal.
date is set. And a deal has yet to be made.
How many deals need to be made?
A lot.
So,
3.
A lot to get this man off the hangman's noose.
Seraph met with naval intelligence and cut a deal with his handler
All the deals, half the savings.
to, in exchange for taking responsibility for Jacobin as essentially a military asset,
Which he is.
which he totally is, to have them use their influence with the magistrates to lessen his sentence. As far as the rest of the group, Tyran'kai is, pardon the pun, but tailing May and Twixen in the hopes of scoring some thieves' tools so that he might somehow infiltrate the guard barracks and bust Jacobin out of prison.
We had our chance with the hole in the wall. We could have done it.
I know, they won't include me on their schemes.
Oh, you could have wild-shaped.
Well, first things first.
Into a lockpick.
Into a mouse.
Form of lockpick. Ding, ding.
Just outside the hole. So,
Okay,
we're going to pick right back up
cool.
with the three of you.
Yeah.
So, where are you heading, May?
So, before any kind of, I guess, parlay is made on Jacobin's behalf, I need to go and talk with Jacobin.
Okay.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So I'm gonna head back to the barracks.
All right. So the three of you are going to go.
Yeah.
So, we'll say that you take care of some business first, just to preserve timeline
Yeah, that
stuff.
way, yeah.
So, by the time you get there, you see Seraph come out. And you see the three of them go into the barracks.
Before that, did you talk any sense into him?
I think so.
Okay. This might be easier. Okay. Because for at least me, I cannot speak for Twixen or Tyran'kai. I know that our goals are aligned. But for me to basically resurrect him in my head, I need to have some sort of reassurance from him that what he did to me will never happen to another one of our allies, ever again.
I think there's a good chance that that is true. I want you to remember something as you go in. Mm-hmm. He's a buffoon. He is our buffoon.
Yes. I will keep that in mind. And I'm gonna head in.
Okay. Same captain from last night.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
No, it's totally true. It's totally true, though.
That's the truth.
It's absolutely true.
Same captain
I
from
feel
last
like I
night.
don't lean into that when I play Jacobin.
Sees you three. Well, it's just a regular rotating door of you folks.
Yeah.
I assume you're here to see your
Idiot.
captain.
Yes.
Jacobin is
Wow.
trying to do the snap his fingers and clap on his leg thing
Okay.
in his cell.
Give me a performance.
Not being successful, I would think.
We'll see.
Why not?
So if you're So for whatever, somehow trained in performance. Okay, so it's just a straight.
Although I have pretty high charisma,
We'll
so
go with the charisma.
I'm pretty good. 16 performance.
You know, it's.
It's a rudimentary
I would.
tune.
It's rudimentary.
Yeah,
But you've got a good beat going.
yeah.
Kind of catchy.
I'm just trying to keep myself entertained.
You have some kind of rhythm going.
Yeah.
And you've gotten yourself into
Nobody
a
knows
rhythm.
what that rhythm is,
Nope.
but there's a rhythm.
Yep. Yeah.
I pick it up and I play along.
There we go.
That's kind of par for the course.
So, well,
Yes, I'm sorry to keep disturbing you, Captain.
well,
It's all right.
you're not afforded the same courtesy as your companion,
Oh, I wasn't.
as you are not legal counsel, so you will have to speak out here.
Oh, that's completely fine.
well.
Completely fine. Yeah. No, I Hey, fuckwad, come over
So-
here for a minute.
Well, so you notice Jacobin's stuff is now sitting in a pile right outside the door with 2 guards posted.
Glad you finally took that out of his cell.
There are 8 other guards in the room, along with the captain, who's gone back to writing at her desk.
So there's 11 other people in the room.
Yes.
And
Like
the
they
3
have
of
to
us.
guard some animal or beast in it.
Dear God, this is beautiful.
Well, for many of them,
You are.
kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of.
So,
Just come to make sure you're getting more lessons before they off me.
no.
Oh.
I'm coming here as a favor to Seraph.
Oh, must have given you a pretty good deal then.
Yeah, it was actually. So I still hate you with every single fiber of my being for what you did to me. Whether I don't care about your intention, but the fact remains that it happened.
Sure did.
That being said, I am willing to try and get you as far out of this as I am able. And I know that Seraph has also been greasing some palms and talking to some people to, again, try and get you out of here alive.
Did I understand that correctly?
No.
No, so, ma'am, we're looking for information.
Like he's literally greases his palms. This weird thing he does. I don't know. He did it on the ship all the time. Then he would go down to his quarters and we just hear a bunch of strange noises.
It makes the cogs turn faster.
Well, I thought he was, yeah, if that's what you want to call it, making the cogs turn.
Oh, God, guys.
At first I didn't think he needed that
I'm
type
not
of
talking
like,
about
he didn't have that type of
bribery now.
need in his life, but I guess every day with it.
Really?
Twice a day sometimes.
And this is why
Really?
the late slot.
I'm just ignoring him at that moment.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
I was trying to say, if you're going to go blind, keep that up. But every day.
Rated E for everyone.
Yep. I mean, you got to do what you got to do when you're out at sea for so long. I understand. I did it myself.
No, he's talking to people because he knows that this was a mistake on Jacobin's part. Trying to make sure that Jacobin understands the weight of the issue and the import of his actions. But we don't want him to die. I understand that there's laws. 100% understand that there are laws here. Laws that I will admit I am not aware of. But Seraph has been giving me as much information as he can as this proceeds. So, as I said, ma'am, I'm not talking about bribery. That being said, Jacobin,
Are you being earnest? This is DM speaking. Are you
No,
being
yeah.
earnest? Make a persuasion check.
Oh boy.
We'll certainly see,
Yep.
based on what my investigators come back with.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
No. Make it quick.
Yeah. So if you want my help, you have to promise me that what you did to me, you will never do to another ally of our group ever again.
Well, unlike my prestigious student, I actually learn from my lessons.
Do you want my help or not?
I'm telling you, I just told you, I learned from my lessons. I'm not going to do it again. Clearly, I messed up, so I won't do it again. That's how lessons work.
Do I have your word
Of course.
that you will never attack another member?
Ooh, I never attacked you. Using the wrong word. I did cast a spell at you.
You will never cause harm to fall upon one of your other party members
Never intentionally.
by your actions
Yeah, what?
ever again.
I'm pretty sure you're making me go through this whole rigmarole. What are you going to do that Seraph can't do?
Seraph knows people and I know people.
Right. Why do we need both?
Because you're gonna die.
No, I'm not.
And we'd rather pull out all the stops than not.
I'm definitely not going to die.
I have my answer. I just turn and leave.
Okay.
Straight up turn and leave.
Tyran'kai walks up to the bars and puts his hands around them and just kind of like looking at the cell for a moment.
Up, up, up. Back away from that.
Tyran'kai pays him no mind. This is
He
no
was
place
not very
for a
convincing.
warrior.
Nope. You're gonna die.
You feel a armor-clad
Seems like
hand
I'm
on your
outside.
shoulder.
Light up my pipe. I'm done with him.
Right, that's quite enough. Step away from the cell, please.
Tyran'kai does step back, but cranes his neck over and gives them an icy glare. Or turning back, Captain, are you well?
I'm fine enough. A bit sore in the joints, but no worse for the wear. Don't get yourself mixed up in this. You listen to Seraph. Do what Seraph says to do.
He's still looking up at the cage. He's not he's visibly upset by it. As you wish. And backs off and out of the room.
Okay. So, where did the three of you go from there?
Twixen, I heard that it's very nice on the outskirts of town. Would you like to go for a walk?
I would love to.
Would you like to join us, Tyran'kai?
Tyran'kai follows along. He's actually looking rather pleased at the moment because this is the first he's heard that there's anything actually being done to try and help Jacobin. So he's relaxed slightly and almost enjoying himself at the moment.
You're not gonna like this.
Also, outskirts of city probably puts a spring in
Yeah.
the step too.
Yeah.
So, there are a number of exits out of the city.
Okay.
I believe, Twixen, you gave a specific direction, yes?
I think that Seraph just said
Seraph.
outskirts.
You
Did I
said
say-
outskirts.
Did I say Twixen?
You said Twixen.
You did.
You said outskirts.
DM has tired brain.
But he also said talk with the forlorn on the outskirts.
Yep.
Yes. No, I'm just. Did you give them a specific gate to go out of? As there are basically three gates out of the city. There's the north gate, the west gate, and the east gate.
The player would not have thought to do that, but the character would have.
Okay. So we'll say the north gate.
Okay.
So, for the sake of brevity, we'll say you meander your way through the city.
Yeah.
It
This
takes
is
you.
also like the biggest city May's ever been
It takes
in.
you a few hours. As you know, this is essentially a major capital city with a population of like 40,000 people. So, although being Twillen, everybody's kind of crammed together on the coast. It still, we'll say, takes you about 2.5 hours to get through the city because you are essentially going from one end of the city to the
I
other.
was gonna say, yeah, we're going from the bottom to the top.
Yes. So, and you pass through a number of districts of varying economic levels. You know, there's merchant districts, craftsman districts. You pass through some slums on your way through, and then some residential districts to a large wall with a gate. And as you guys are heading through, May and Tyran'kai notice that you are being tailed by a guard.
I figured.
So, as you approach the gate, you see the guards at the gate sort of intercede. Up, up, up. Where do you think you three are going?
He needs to stretch his legs. Like outside of the city, it makes him restless.
One moment.
Oh, what time of day is it, by the way?
So at this point,
Yeah.
it's about.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
So you heard 12 bells,
Okay.
and then it was a little ways past that to get to the gatehouse.
Okay.
So
We'll be back before nightfall.
the guards kind of, you know, wave. You get the sense they wave behind you, and you see that other
We see the
guard
guy. We see.
come up.
I would imagine I would have like noticed he was following us, and
The three of them kind of confer. You know, and they like kind of shrug at each other. All right.
Yep.
thank you. As I said, we'll be back before nightfall.
Well,
I'm gonna keep going. Thank you.
you were not followed out of the city.
Cool.
Yay!
Wouldn't really have cared either way. I'm doing
And I'll
this.
say, with your two passive perception, you hear the guards mutter as you walk by them that with all the dangers outside the city walls, you know, if something happens to them, you know, fine. That's one less problem that they have to deal
Basically, yeah.
Yep.
They get killed out there. Fuck them. We didn't have to deal with them in here.
with. So,
Cool.
so the moment you pass through the gates, you see there is a sprawling set of a mishmash of tents and temporary shelters outside the city. To call it a shantytown would be generous,
Okay.
because at least shantytowns have some stable structures.
We're talking like FEMA camps here again.
No, because again, that would imply some sort of order and structure. I mean, this would be like refugee camps if
Okay.
the refugees brought all their own tents to set up,
Okay.
kind of a thing. Entirely populated with warforged. And you notice many of them kind of just sitting around. You do see the occasional one off in the distance being accosted and sort of dragged off.
So this is like right outside the tent, the city walls.
Yep.
Do any of them look like they're more in charge than the others?
Give me an insight check.
9.
It's difficult to tell. Many of the warforged are in varying states of dress and armor chassis, so it's difficult to tell.
Okay.
I mean, you're not sure if the one in charge would be using a heavy armor chassis at the moment or an unarmored chassis, or if they would be wearing fine clothing or not.
I approach one of the nearest one.
They nod.
I am told that the Iron Blossom is pleasant this time of year.
You see, you recognize a bit of tensing up at that statement. And they, one of them sort of grabs you by the hand and pulls you down. We do not speak of such things out in the open here,
Perhaps we should go
or
inside
you will
and
suffer the fate
find
of
some-
one of those who gets dragged off.
What happens to you?
Well, you would already know. You're in
No.
servitude, it seems.
We're not from here.
Oh.
Yeah. Where we're from, actually, Twixen is free.
Oh,
This is a show
I see.
because it has to be.
It helps to blend in with the locals.
Right.
I'm so sorry for your servitude. I'm trying to help. If I
Just
can.
gives a very mechanical shrug. And you'll want that set of tents over there.
Thank you.
Points to a sort of blue and gold, dirty set of tents, kind of in the center.
Yep. I had that one.
Thank you. And I just silently follow Twixen.
You draw many glances of the three of you walking through this encampment.
You've got to be quite a sight to see. Especially because I'm following behind Twixen.
Yeah, and the fact that Twixen is essentially armed.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Tyran'kai being
I was
Tyran'kai.
going to say in Tyran'kai.
Tyran'kai,
We look like the mini bosses you have to beat to
It's
fight Twixen.
Doot, doot,
Tyran'kai, Twixen is probably the first warforged you've ever seen. And now there are dozens surrounding you.
Yeah, Tyran'kai is visibly uncomfortable with all of this.
And they have all manner of different design. Some of them have very bulky bodies with spikes coming out of them. Some of them are very slender and have almost like a more wooden frame with different sort of augmentations on like their arms, so that like they might have a set of tools like embedded into one arm. Some of them have like one hand replaced with a tool. So yeah. You get to the tent. And there are two very bulky warforged outside.
Hello.
Greetings. State your business.
I'm here to smell the Iron Blossom.
There's a brief moment. You hear the occasional as you see. Again, Twixen, you notice more readily than the others. The sort of fluctuating of the eyes at you. One of them turns and goes inside. Then comes back out. You may proceed.
Thank you.
I follow and I say thank you. Do you come in with us?
Tyran'kai does not want to be alone right now.
The two of you are, before you go in, grab your arms.
Hey,
They are with me.
Are they your owner?
see, that's,
Only in pretense.
yeah, that's the, we're not from around here.
It helps to blend in with the locals.
They let your arms go and let you go unimpeded further.
Thank you. I'm like trying to be like as polite as possible right now.
I mean, you don't want to get ripped limb from limb.
Nope.
Inside,
I'm not saying that would happen.
I'm
I
sorry,
just-
Dave.
You don't want to
I
do
can't let you do that.
you see there is a pretty beat up looking warforged. Lots of scratches, gouges, sort of rust, scarring on the frame.
Warforged don't usually rust, do they?
Not usually, but sometimes there are certain elements that could make them
Okay.
be susceptible to stuff like that.
Are you in need of solvent?
No. But I appreciate your candor. And you see, sitting on basically like a throne of sorts made out of what looks like just scrap, like wooden scrap, metal scrap, and everything, just amassed. Dressed in long flowing robes with a fur collar and several sort of ornate necklaces, a couple rings on each finger. And then you notice at the side there's a two-handed sword that rests on the side of the chair.
Hello.
I am the person that you seek. I broker deals here. I'm a merchant, you see.
Is it because of the rings?
It helps give off a pretense of wealth,
I
among
see.
others.
Please forgive my ignorance. I'm extremely confused at this moment. I thought that you said you're a merchant?
That is correct.
That means he is someone who trades.
Yes, I know that, Twixen. Thank you.
You said you were confused.
Yes, because I was under the assumption that the laws
glad someone's
in
still
this
teaching our
country wouldn't
lessons.
allow that.
Are all
When
markets
you-
legal?
That's a fair point, Twixen. Fair point.
When you operate outside of a city, laws only extend so far.
My type of man. Warforged. Excuse me.
Now, what is it that brings you here to me?
Our captain is being held. I was told you might be able to help release him.
Held by who? And why should I care?
The local enforcement agency.
Ah, so the city guard.
Yes.
Well,
Again, why should I care?
that's actually not why we're here, Twixen. I was told by a friend that you would be able to help with some missing royalty.
Ah,
Do you know me?
Here it is. I was waiting for it.
I don't believe we've met.
Twixen.
No, I'm sorry, I haven't.
What is your name, good sir? So I may address you properly.
Simply, if you must refer to me, which should only ever be in hushed tones, as the Iron Blossom.
You? Okay.
However, my presence is not exactly known here. As you see, since we're not regarded as a people, identities are not really something that the folk on the inside of the walls concern themselves with for us. However, should they discover that that is the nomenclature used to describe me, it would be a very poor outcome for a great deal, many of people here.
I would imagine, considering the hushed tones in which I was told about you.
Yes.
I
Those who generally speak loudly out here are often regarded as troublemakers and taken for servitude.
Those of you outside the wall here aren't already in servitude? Again,
They often consider us beggars,
interesting.
scrap, lost playthings or trinkets.
It's terrible.
Is it?
I hate it even more here. The weather wasn't
But
better.
let us speak of the matter. My time is precious, and I would rather speak of why you are here.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, you see, there are some sympathetic to our condition, we'll say. And I'm simply trying to make headway, making gains with them. However, it hasn't been easy, as there are a number of very good reasons as to why such individuals on the inside, we'll say, think the way they do.
There's good reasons for them to regard you as scrap metal. I'm sorry, but I can't believe that.
Prophets.
But they're beings. They're these you people.
More like civil war.
Oh. Okay, that light bulb just went off.
Or that a war is an imprecise
So between
term.
those of you in servitude and those of you out here,
It's more There are enough individuals that tend to cause problems. Something happens to them, and they just snap, it seems. And you see, when someone like you snaps, well, you're still flesh and bone, is there's only so much punishment a body can take.
Yeah.
So it requires relatively little effort to be brought down. You see when one of the forlorn snaps.
You speak of the glitch.
I've heard that phrase before. Yes. It's quite disastrous.
Have you no Caesars here?
I don't know what you mean.
There are those of us who hunt the glitch.
I can't say that there are any one of those here. We simply try to avoid being hunted for servitude ourselves, so we tend to keep our heads down, and any moves that we make are simply to try and improve our image. If there was one that would go out and hunt these sort of rogue individuals, I wouldn't argue against it.
Interesting. Well, I don't want to waste any more of your time.
Oh, no, no. Now it's gotten interesting. Tell me, are you one of these seekers?
I am not.
Oh, it's just a shame then. As we do have there is a group that is similarly discontented with our situation and have taken to more aggressive measures. They're a bit of a nuisance. Could certainly use some assistance in taking care of the problem.
If they are glitch, it would be my duty to seek them.
I can't say that of all of them, but their leader certainly displays some erratic behavior.
And I will do what I must.
He reaches into a pocket and just pulls out a scrap of paper. Just hands it to you. In there are coordinates. That is where you'll find him.
Speaking of finding people, that's kind of what brought us to you, at least me to you today. I've heard rumors that the queen is not dead.
You hear sort of a whirring and clicking. Most interesting.
Have you heard anything about?
I have not, but if that rumor's true, that is certainly of great benefit.
Really?
Indeed.
Why? Did the royal family
Oh, well, there were
treat Forlorn better?
very influential members of the royal family that seemed to be sympathetic to him. I can't say if the queen herself was one of them, but
Okay.
if the queen is alive, restoring her to power would certainly be an improvement over things.
I mean, it might go a long way to getting you guys rights.
It would certainly make things easier. Then it's only trying to influence one person instead of a whole faction of people.
As Courtney looks through her notes. I've heard that there has been some, say, activity going on in the Rose Garden. Would you know anything about that?
Oh, well, everyone knows the Rose Gardens are creeping with the undead.
Yeah.
That's even school children know that.
Yeah, I meant
No one
about-
goes there.
I meant about what's maybe causing the undead.
Oh, well. There are 1,001 stories over what could be causing them. My favorite, of course, is beings from an age long past, far flung from the future, in different realities that have crash landed. But their very nature causes the dead to rise. It's such an outlandish tale. I love it.
Interesting.
Most likely, it's some sort of vile necromancer taking opportunity to dwell in a set of ruins, amassing an army.
But why would they need to be amassing an army?
Well,
I mean, other than like this.
I don't proceed to question the motives of those who animate corpses into walking automatons.
Yeah. Wow. Just. Do you know anything else about the Rose Gardens? If I were to go there.
Oh, well, you're a brave one then.
Brave or stupid. That's what my mama said.
Oh, possibly both.
Which is
That's
definitely a mix
unfortunately-
of both.
Unfortunately, all I know. Is
You just get daggers. You just get a glare.
for all the misery that we endure out here, at the very least, we are still close enough to the city walls that we're not having to contend with the horrors that patrol the forests at night. I would suggest that if you're going out that way, you prepare yourself.
Okay.
Although this one's a curious one. You've been awfully quiet.
Tyran'kai looks visibly upset by all that's going on.
He expects people to be made of meat.
Well, not everything's as it seems. I mean, surely you could understand that as having scales instead of supple skin.
I have not seen so many men made of metal before.
Leans in. He kind of stands up, a full foot taller than you. Kind of leans down, gets right at your face, and you can see kind of the sort of scarring. There's like metal cuts and everything in its faceplate. Does our nature unsettle you?
I've never seen its like. Well, shoots a look over to Twixen. That one fights well. If you are being treated poorly, why do you not simply kill them?
I see this one's not much of a philosopher.
No,
Tyran'kai
unless it comes to gold.
tends to
see.
be.
Very simple desires, then.
Tyran'kai seems to be very motivated and driven. Sometimes.
Tyran'kai is very food motivated. Like a dog.
Sometimes.
Like a dog, he's only 3 or 4 snacks away from being your best friend at any given time.
Treats and toys.
A little deeper than that, but not much.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
is there anything further?
I don't think so. Might I call on you again if I have more questions?
I would avoid traveling around here without your
Oh,
companion.
of course I would bring Twixen. As I said, due to your weird laws, we had to register
Their
as a pair.
weird laws.
Their weird, the weird laws of the land.
Our weird laws, comrade.
The weird laws of this land. We registered as a pair. So there actually hasn't really been much time that we've spent in this city, or even outside of it now. And we haven't been together.
About 24 hours.
Yeah.
Well,
The only time I had to myself was a bath.
I don't know why you wanted to rust your chassis.
simply taking care of that problematic individual would be enough.
Yes.
We can definitely.
I'm sorry I can't give you any more information. It's a very difficult individual to track down.
Look at the coordinates, but how far away is it?
So you have coordinates,
Yep.
but you're not quite sure how to decipher them.
Okay.
Because, like, you don't know on what scale the coordinates are set at.
Cool.
But it's clearly like in our term, it's essentially like two numbers with a comma. So like, yeah, it's some kind of coordinate thing, but you're not sure like, is it related to the city, to the kingdom, to the hemisphere? Is it longitude and latitude? Not
Sounds
quite
good.
sure.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you. I will take care of it.
Yeah, I'll do what I can. I want to make life easier for you guys.
Oh, well, that's very kind of you.
You don't deserve to be living out here like outcasts. You also don't deserve to be a people enslaved.
Well,
Why don't you leave?
if only it were that simple.
But why isn't it?
You wouldn't understand.
It is their home.
It's not quite that either. Twixen, give me just a straight wisdom check.
Modified 20.
Okay. When he says that, it's you you begin to notice that there's some kind of influence that you can feel. Doesn't seem to be affecting you. You run like a quick diagnostic. You're like, okay. You've taken notice of it, but it doesn't. But you've seemed to have resisted it for whatever influence it has. But there's definitely something at work here.
Interesting. Okay.
So now, as I said, my time is precious. There are many deals to arrange, and
And I do not want to waste any more of it. Thank you for seeing us and thank you for your time.
very well.
I'm gonna head out the door.
Okay.
Follows.
So yeah, so you guys do that, and we'll say you head back.
Before we enter the city, I have something I want to do.
Sure.
So as we're approaching the gate, for
Yeah.
a second you notice Tyran'kai is not with you, and you look behind. He's quite a few paces behind you, looking up at the stone walls. And this might be one of the first times you've ever seen him visibly upset by anything. He's just kind of quietly staring up at the walls.
What's up?
I go stand next to you, stare at the wall outside.
That word the old one used, misery. I have not heard it before.
Really?
Tyran'kai gives a kind of a slow, sweeping look of the high stone wall.
That pit in your stomach that you're feeling.
Men. This is what they do when they gather together. Walls of stone, devouring all around it and vomiting forth suffering. For the first time, I have found pain I take no pleasure in. I just wish to tear this down. Were it only that they had one throat, so I might rip it from them and be done with it.
I'm just gonna keep walking in.
After a few moments, Tyran'kai lowers his head and walks in behind you.
No problem.
And I like slow my pace so that they can catch up.
Yep.
Because I know him
Yeah.
without me close by
Yep.
can lead to trouble for us.
I might only get abducted. It's fine.
So
Yeah, no.
as you
I just
as
get
you
a
get
little
back,
abducted. It's fine.
as you get back within the walls, you hear 13 bells. Sorry, no. 14 bells. Would have
Ah,
taken you extra
crud.
time to get there.
It took us 2.5 hours to get out in his trials in 2 hours. We're gonna be late.
Be
I'm just
faster
gonna
going.
casually walk back. Back down towards the magistrate's office.
Okay. You're going to do it casually?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, it's going to take you the 2.5 hours.
It is.
Okay. So. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Seraph and Jacobin. So, we'll say over the course of the day, you've been kind of gathering whatever evidence that you can. Basically amounting other circumstantial evidence of stuff involving similar supernatural episodes, and that this seems to be fairly common in Rosington, and that there are other individuals that this happens to, and also prepping Jacobin on this trial
Yep.
and the proceedings.
Yep.
You're led into sort of a grand chamber, circular chamber, where the two of you are then seated at a table in the center. And it's almost like a stadium seating. And then on one side, there is a sort of large podium where the magistrate sits. The magistrate is a tall human male wearing a big flowing wig. That you know they're wigs, as
You
they
know the
are
kind.
offices of. It's a badge of office.
Yep.
The wig itself is also topped with, sort of adorned with like a wolf's head kind of cap,
Oh, a wolf wig.
like a white wolf's head, to signify their station among the clergy of Mona, the goddess of arbitration. There are quite a few individuals that are packed into the courthouse. It seems that word of a very powerful adventurer running afoul of the town guard spread throughout town.
It's like a cop killer trial.
Kind of. A number of the individuals seem to be town guards, and you presume to be friends and family of the guard that was slain. You also notice Seraph, sort of in a corner. Mako is there, in disguise.
Okay.
The magistrate comes in which everybody stands up. There is a bailiff that announces. Announcing Magistrate Winthrop. Court is now in session. The magistrate sits down. And, and announces, please be seated. Looking at the charges here. I understand that there are some extenuating circumstances to the charges. The charges as follows were: 1 count, murder of an official, which you hear some muffled crying, and 1 count, assaulting a citizen, which you hear from the back. God damn right. Order. Proceedings shall be followed. And 1 count, disturbing the peace. However, due to the investigation of both our city watch and a separate investigation from the Navy itself, there has been a determining that the charges should be 1 count of assaulting an official, 1 count of assaulting a citizen, and 1 count of disturbing the peace. Of these charges, how does the defendant plead?
What did we talk about? Guilty. All charges.
I see.
No contest.
Guilty.
Very well. The court thanks you for making this a quick session. As punishment for these crimes, the High Court of Rosington finds One Jacobin Stainthorpe, captain of the Hammer's Folly, and member of the Backstreet Sharks.
Yeah. That's
You
been
will
on the
serve
record, dude.
2 weeks in prison. You will be flogged. You will pay a fine of 25 gold pieces to the city and damages of 100 gold pieces to one Gundren, owner of the Leaky Hull. Payment may be made at the local guardhouse. And the flogging shall take place in 1 hour. Are there any other considerations?
Your Honor,
Yes.
is the matter of incarceration for the protection of the community. If that is the case, may I recommend that with approved security of the city guard, that Captain Jacobin be allowed to be held aboard the docked ship Hammer's Folly. As Captain Jacobin has demonstrated that he is challenging for most of the city's regular guardsmen. I can assure you the security of the Folly is up to the task of holding him.
Such a request would amount to house arrest, as it were. And that is not an acceptable punishment for this crime.
I
I would
understand.
rule. And at this point, you hear, poof, and everybody kind of looks back, and you see the doors open. And there is a figure, a woman, in sort of all black and sort of dark green, kind of mottled leather armor, with kind of a black mask, long curly red hair. She has a longbow strapped to her back, and you see there are two axes, or two hatchets, holstered in her belt.
Ah, crud. There's no way this is.
And she walks in. I see, this is another irregularity in the proceedings.
So, this is the plan. This is part of the plan.
Well, Mr. Stainthorpe, it seems that the Night Watchers have taken an interest. Young lady, would you please state your business as to why you are interrupting these court proceedings?
Night Watcher, you said?
And she pulls the mask down. You see, freckled. She has sort of 3 scars going across her face. They look, like a claw raked across the side of her face. My apologies. Of the highest regard, magistrate, but my superiors wish to offer Mr. Stainthorpe and to the courts that in lieu of imprisonment, that we would certainly put him to use and request, shall we say, hard and dangerous labor in place of the imprisonment.
I like what this one's thinking. I was going to ask you to do that.
What do I know about this faction?
Give me a history check.
Absolutely.
Jacobin, you can give me a history check as well.
Oh, I know very little, if any at all.
I know it all.
7.
Natural 20.
Does.
So, okay.
What is a provincial? No.
Well,
That's
Because I
awesome.
lived there.
I'm going to answer that question. So, Sarah, with a 7, you know the Night Watchers are from what you gather, they're some kind of mercenary band that fashions themselves as defenders of the realm,
Okay.
that tend to dabble in the occult.
Okay.
Oh.
I like these guys.
Jacobin, you know, growing up, your village was actually one of the stops along several Night Watcher routes. You know, the Night Watchers could be considered a mercenary band. You know, they're not officially part of state structure or anything. They patrol the roads and the forests. They collect what is considered by most Twill folk to be forbidden knowledge in an attempt to use that knowledge to aid in their fight against the darkness and the creatures of the night that plague Twillin.
And their leader is called Billidan
No,
Thunder Fury.
no. You know that most of them bear the rank of Watcher. They often serve as scouts. Some of them serve as like more heavy soldiers. They don't operate with like a military structure. It's more of like groups of hunters, and they will go on hunts and find a werewolf or a demon or something and remove the problem any means necessary.
Pragmatic. I like this. It's good.
You know as well that higher ranking members that patrol the woods are often seen in the company of what Twillfolk consider to be creatures of the night. And that some of them patrol the roads riding on the backs of dire wolves, and some of them patrol the forests riding atop giant owls. Obviously, you know, the two of you know, venturing out into the forests after dark is a very dangerous task and a very dangerous job. So, whatever she has in mind, in terms of safety, you're much safer being in prison. The catch is obviously, in the eyes of the court, you would surmise that offering up that you would essentially be enlisted to do work for the Night Watchers in the forests, and therefore, in their minds, there's a high likelihood that you will be killed during such missions.
So they're giving him a death sentence without giving him a death sentence.
Essentially.
I stand
Well.
up.
Do you, although this is most irregular, And the magistrate kind of stands and he assumes, sorry, you recognize this as like a sort of posture for praying. I see. The court accepts this proposal. Mr. Stainthorpe, you are welcome to accept this, or you may accept the 2 weeks imprisonment.
Well, this sounds like what I wanted all along anyway. Yeah, I accept.
Very good. Bailiff, please prepare the prisoner for the flogging and to escort him and his counsel.
Guess I gotta do that part.
Still have to do that part.
All right.
This court is adjourned. The city of Rosington thanks you all for your time. And the moment he stands up, there is a roar from the crowd. They are out for blood. Friends and family of the deceased.
Have we arrived by now?
No.
Did we miss the whole trial?
No.
No,
We're gonna
they
ride
took
it.
us.
Because
Because y'all are going to show up just in time for the flocking.
Yep.
Flogging, oh
like
boy,
They
it.
took
oh
their
boy.
sweet ass time getting
Upon
back.
hearing this,
I like it.
and this watcher starts shouting, and you hear her voice seems to cut through the shouting from the crowd. Good people of Rosington, your justice will be served. We will make sure of that. But as a measure of good faith, from our group is we have a gift for you. And she walks back out. And the bailiff is kind of just still standing there with you guys because he's a little perplexed as to what's going on. And the crowd is now just confused and everything.
Anyway, you can get these. I gotta get these off me.
She walks back in with two other similarly clad individuals. And a familiar figure walking, so they're kind of arranged in like a V, and then walking sort of behind them is a familiar figure, and there is gasps from the crowd as it's the guard
Saves me the trouble leaving the school. Good.
that fell. And the audible gasps and everything turn to hushed whispers, wondering what sort of dark magics they could have practiced to do that.
Good thing May's not there. May'd become a werewolf.
But what you presume to be the family is just stunned, and they welcome back. Now, please, let us take our charge, and we'll be out of your hair. Master Stainthorpe, we'll see you after your flogging.
I imagine you'll see me during it.
Well, that too. I like a good show. Come along, gentlemen. And she leaves.
Bitch stole my redemption right out from under me.
That was beautiful.
I was gonna use my scroll to blend that.
You can save it for the third time you kill Meg.
No, the scroll I'm saving for
So,
one other thing.
for the purpose of this,
eyebrows.
we'll say, so they prep Jacobin. Interestingly enough, you recognize, so the person that will do the flogging is a priest of Norn,
You love Norm.
wears Norn's holy symbol. Says, I see. He's got one eye. Look, I saw the equipment
Yeah.
that you were carrying. I know you serve the Great Boar,
Yeah, unfortunately, yep.
so. But you know, I ain't gonna take it easy on you.
No, do what you gotta do. It's
All
whatever.
right, just so we're clear. Clearly professional.
Yeah, you have fun.
Can
Enjoy.
anyone cast
I'm sure you enjoy what you
guidance
do.
on the Taskmaster?
Go at it.
Because
So-
what?
Cast
no
guidance
hard
or
feelings.
something on the Taskmaster?
When it's all over, a pint's on me.
I know the Crusader's
Fine.
mantle.
Just,
All right.
do I get to like a bit of wood or leather to bite on or something?
Oh, sure, yeah. I got something even better. Just take this.
What is it?
You see, it's a strip of wood. It's wrapped in some kind of cloth.
All right.
It looks like it's been soaked in something.
Yeah.
Soaked in alcohol.
So it goes, you bite down on this, but just don't bite too hard. Trust me.
All right then. Yeah.
So sticks it in your mouth, and immediately you just like go numb, all over.
Okay.
Better than alcohol.
And he winks at you with like his one eye that's left. You all finally get out to the square, and you see out in the square, gathered a big crowd. You see Jacobin's pulled up onto a stage, and there is this taskmaster, excuse me, that has what looks like a cat of nine tails
Ooh.
with little boar's heads at the end. And then
I've never
He
known I
goes,
wanted something so badly in my entire life.
80 lashes.
80? Holy crap.
Jacobin,
Are we sure about that?
I've never
I mean,
known that I wanted
100 lashes with a whip can be fatal. A cat of nine tails is like a scourge. He'll barely have any flesh left on his back.
Yep, that's kind of the plan.
Wow. How do you really feel? about
Jacobin
this?
doesn't seem to pay it any mind. You guys aren't quite sure why. It looks really painful.
Oh, he'll be feeling it in the morning.
And the whole time, the taskmaster's laughing. Jacobin, you surmise he's laughing because he's duped the crowd. Because you don't feel any pain whatsoever. And when it's all done,
Is his back getting bloody?
oh yeah,
Like,
oh, no,
so,
absolutely.
So it's like it's legit
Yeah,
happening.
I'm sure he's
It is a
taking
mess.
like 100 points of damage from this, but
80.
Maybe non-lethal, but blood loss.
Yeah, it gets weird when trying to transcribe it. But anyway.
sure.
So,
Yeah, non-lethal.
but then, so it all commences. Right, crowd disperses and everything. They, let Jacobin down, unshackle him and everything. The taskmaster puts Tool away. And he gives you a clap on the back. And unbeknownst to everyone but you, you all still see his back like be bloodied and cut up and everything or whatever, but you feel your wounds close up.
That sneaky bastard.
Don't you worry. Your punishment's been served, but
I really feel like I should have gotten worse out of that.
I mean, I got what I needed. Ha 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 ha.
Oh God, he gets off on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yep.
Chief.
Oh boy. Oh,
You should meet my
boy.
friend Seraph. You ever hear of like greasing your hands and
I mean,
you might be into this?
I think you might need to get your mind out of the gutter, boy.
Uh,
Now, go do the God's work.
yeah, I guess.
Or your work.
I think
Whatever it is you
it's
need to do.
About one and the same, more or less.
Usually how it goes.
Yeah.
Now, don't let me get you back here again. Ha 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 ha. And he sort of walks off.
Right.
And with that, we're going to end the session.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
On that note, a
Yeah.
flogging to end the night.
Everyone
Right.
loves a good flogging.
Everyone loves
Yeah.
a good flogging to end the night.